What's up, YouTube? Gengar Guys here, and we're bringing a deck list video today. It's going to be the first video in a long time. Today we have Hippowdon, as you can see in the title and on your screen as of right now. This deck was conceived at the during Nationals, actually, of this year. And it's an interesting deck. It's Hippowdon with Resistance Desert. It uses primarily Resistance Desert to block out attacks and everything else from EX Pokemon. And since it's a fighting type, it gets buffs from Strong Energy and other cards like Fighting Stadium and such. Now, this particular variant will be running Seismitoad EX to kind of set up and slow down your opponent. And this is actually a deck list built for Expanded. You probably noticed that if you saw the heavy balls. And this will be expanded for the 2016 rotation. Expanded's going to be a lot bigger now because the Houston Pokemon has introduced regionals to be expanded, and all other regionals will follow suit. And it's not just for Top Cut anymore, it's both days. So we run Heavy Ball as a 3-of because it's the best search card in this entire deck. For this entire deck, you can search Seismitoad, Stunfisk. This is actually a filler for Landorus EX at the time. And Hippowdon. You can also get your Hippopotas. You can't get Hawlucha, but that's exactly the reason we use it, is it's free retreat. We don't normally use it for flying press, but if the opportunity presents itself, it is a good attack. This deck is going to be weak to things such as Vesbiquin Evolutions, and doesn't have a very good matchup against most Bats decks. Night March is kind of a 50-50 with this deck as well. We run Hard Charms and Muscle Bands. You can run 2 Muscle Bands and a Silver Bangle in this deck, because Silver Bangle will also be an expanded card next year. But for the time being, we want to run Muscle Bands to kind of counter everything that isn't going to be a threat to Hippowdon, and to everything that will be a threat to Hippowdon, because it does 20 across the board, not just to EXs. We have Hypnotoxic Laser in there to kind of help one-shot or two-shot any non-EX threats, like Yveltal with Oblivion Wing is a big one. If you don't have a Hard Charm on Hippowdon, it gets two-shot very easily by an Oblivion Wing and a Darkness Blade, I believe is the attack name, 100 damage. But with the help of Strong Energy, a Muscle Band, and even a Hypnotoxic Laser, you can easily one-shot most of the EX, two-shot most EXs, three-shot Megas, and one-shot non-EX threats. We also have Double Edge in here to kind of clean up, though you won't get the Resistance Desert effect, but you also do 20 damage to yourself, which is not good. Sweeping, though, this is almost a certainty to one-shot any non-EX threats. Karina, we only run a 2. It's, I mean, we already have Heavy Ball to search a lot of things out, so the only thing that Karina is really helpful for is if you want to chain out Hippopotas and Hippowdon lines. You can get actually 2 full lines with a Karina. You can Karina for a Hippopotas and a VS Seeker, and then you can Karina the next turn for a Hippowdon and another Heavy Ball. So almost 2 full lines right there. Only 2 VS Seeker, which is very low in most decks. You would run 4. But we're going to see a rise in Vileplume and Item Lock decks as Expanded comes around, so you might just want to run a higher line of your supporters rather than a higher line of VS Seeker, because you won't be able to use it. Also, the stadium in this deck is Silent Lab. You're going to block out a lot of abilities, and the good part about that is the only ability that you use is Shining Spirit, which is in most cases not going to help you whatsoever. Our supporter line is mainly search and draw support, but we do have a couple of strange cards in here. Like we do have one Pokemon Center Lady and one Xerosic. The Xerosic in here is mainly to get rid of double colorless energies, just like Enhanced Hammer here is, but again, item lock, so we will use one Xerosic. Obviously, we're going to run full lines of Strong Energy and DCE. We do have 4 regular Fighting Energy to kind of get around Enhanced Hammers and Xerosics from the opponent, and Aegislash as well if we can't keep up a Silent Lab. Alright, so that is the deck. Now, in the next video, we're going to be having a battle with it.